So in addition to any standardized tests that you're going to be taking from here on out, it's always important to remember that when you're taking these exams, you should be in a stimulated situation that's going to be similar to the exam, right? So when I was taking my exam for the last time, I got real serious, and I would lock myself in a room, right? And anytime that I would get up and use the bathroom, I would time myself when I would get up, and I would time myself when I came back in, because it's like I need to be in the mindset like somebody's going to be flagging me down, somebody's going to have to fingerprint me when I come back into the room. So let me just get my mind ready for this, so there's no hiccups on game day, and there's literally no room for error. Right? I guess the way I'm doing during my practice test should be the same thing I'm doing when I get in there.
Talk about how you answer questions. And how you like read paragraphs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, so in terms of like, when you're reading these questions, I was already in the mindset of, I was already practicing the way I was playing. So same thing, like if anybody's ever played sports, you know, anytime you go to practice, you're given 100%, right? You're going in these drills, game time, speed, because when you're in a game time, these things should be second nature to you. So there were some questions on the exam where I would literally just look at the last sentence of the question, and in my mind, I know exactly what they're going to ask, because you've seen it 1,000 times, right? So then you just go double check, you read the question, and since I already had that mindset of like, I know what they're about to ask, when I saw that answer, I just clicked it and kept moving on, right? One, that lowered a lot of anxiety from the rest of the exam, because I was like, with standardized exams, you never know how you did, regardless. Like you could walk out there thinking you did 100% and you can fail. You walk out thinking you fail and you can get the highest score in the whole nation, right? Like, there's really no way to do it.
And the only way to make yourself comfortable is by doing as many questions as you can. That way you've seen how many ways they can come at you, similar to how Derek was saying, driving the car, you will not understand how to drive a car until you actually know that, okay, not only am I driving this car, I need to focus on the person who's crossing, I need to focus on the stop, I need to focus on the people who are in my car. These are how they will try to come at you different ways. This is how they're going to ask you a question 1,000 ways. So the more questions you do, that will ultimately improve your
One thing that I used to do this whole time I was studying for the exam, I would watch Kobe videos every
whatever you gotta do to get that motivation, man.
Because like it was when they say the Mamba mindset, like it really was. Because when you look at his like workout regimen, he was going in, he was putting 1,000 shots in before practice started.
With his left hand too, and I hate that guy, bro.
No, but I think about that all the time. Like this is literally like the Olympics of like academics.
It is. I think medicine is probably one of the highest like academic levels that you can achieve. You know, endeavors that you can achieve. And watching those Kobe videos, I was like, this guy is putting 1,000 shots up a day, game time speed. So when it's game time, like there's no question, like put the ball in my hands. I know I can make this because it's just another shot that I took 1,000 times the night before, like, and that's how like I try to make myself the mindset I try to have coming into the MCAT. Because like if I know I've done this so many times, by the time I get in there, whether I get the question right or wrong, I'm comfortable in you know how I approach it.
I mean, I obviously can't speak for everybody, but like I just feel like people don't, for the most part, don't really realize the power in literally doing something before you actually do it. Like, please do not take those practice questions for granted. Do as many of those as you can. Pump as many of those out. And you know, in the beginning, it's gonna suck. You're gonna get things wrong. Your ego's gonna be like, man, you're gonna feel like you don't know anything, which is good because it's an opportunity for you to really learn. You know, take time with it and find out, like Henry was saying, why you got it right and why the other options are wrong.
Personally, like I enjoyed, not that I enjoyed, the questions that I got wrong, I enjoyed. I looked at this opportunity to learn.
That's how you gotta look at it. That's how you gotta go in.
So with that being said, we would like to talk about the other tribulations we've had going into medical school. As you know, that we all took gap years. I took 2 years. Trev took 2 years, and then
I took 2 years.
Derek also took 2 years. So in between those times, like I got rejected. You know, I applied to medical school once before I got in this time, and went on the interview trail, got waitlisted, got rejected. You know, and it hurts. But at the end of the day, just like similar to me taking the MCAT multiple times, it was just a time to learn, you know. At that point, when first time I got rejected, I took the MCAT at that point 3 times. And I was like, okay, I had to be frank with myself. And medical school was something that I really wanted to do, right? What did I need to improve on? So for me personally, it was an MCAT. So I said, all right, you know, it's AI mentality.
That's your guy.
Allen Iverson's my favorite player. So you had to have his mentality to be a dog and just like attack that part of your application, right? And likewise, in that, you know, the schools that you got rejected from, reach out to them and ask them, hey, why did you deny me?
Yes.
You know, a lot of times it's for meetings, it's for stuff outside of what you originally thought. It could have been, okay, you didn't volunteer enough because this is a volunteer-oriented medical school, or you didn't have enough community service because the medical school you applied to is community service-oriented. So that's another thing. When you apply to schools where your body of work as a medical student aligns kind of with their mission, right? That way, even if you don't meet all the quote-unquote hard qualifications, you meet everything else that they stand for, and these are the type of students that they want in their community. So before I pass it on to them, I also want to say that in that time of you getting rejected, bro, people get rejected all the time, right? It's not a testament of how smart you are. It's not a testament of how smart you are, periods, right? So you're gonna be humbled, right? But dwell on that for maybe like a week or so, right? But pick yourself back up. Like I said, medicine is what defines people as physicians. It's a marathon, but it's literally how many times are you able to get back up and work on yourself and improve yourself after you've been rejected and told no, because it's a life learning, literally a life learning field.
I think exactly what you said. I think it's really resilience. Like
100%.
I think when schools are looking at applicants, a lot of the questions they ask are like, what is your biggest failure, right? And it's because they want to know, okay, when we get into the field, if you mess up, are you just going to give up? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you gotta
that's what it is.
You gotta be built for this, bro. Like,
it's
come
not
on,
easy.
bro.
Yeah, it's not easy.
PJ Tucker in the course, bro.
Definitely. I without a doubt agree on what you just said. Literally everything, every obstacle, every trial, tribulation that you go through is preparing you for this moment now. Because I mean, getting in is one thing, and you know, typically, you know, you find a way to make it in med school. You do the thing. If you get into med school, listen, you're meant to be there. You know what I mean? And if you haven't gone there yet, still keep on striving to get in there. But all your obstacles and trials and tribulations, I'm telling you, it's only gonna make you better. And I actually think that, you know, if everything is just given to you easily, you're not really gonna appreciate this experience. You know what I mean? You know, if you've been rejected or whatever the case may be, whatever type of experience that you've had, just best believe, know that it's gonna work in your favor one day, because it's gonna give you a certain amount of grit. It's gonna give you a certain amount of resilience. It's gonna give you a certain amount of like character, so that when you do experience obstacle, which you will in med school, I promise, at one point in med school, you're gonna just experience a point where it's like, damn, this is crazy. Okay, this is why, you know, med school is the way it is. But your past obstacles you're gonna remember that, and you're gonna know that you got through it. So this is just like another obstacle that you're just gonna get through. You know what I mean? It's hurdles. So it's like you just build on it. And just to you know, elaborate on what you guys were saying before. At least with me, my favorite player is LeBron. Pretty familiar with, like, you know, trying to get something in the beginning and not necessarily getting it, but just keep going. I was actually watching a YouTube video. It was just him talking about, like, you know, his struggles in the league, and you know how he pretty much came to be the player that he was, and just his work ethic and how much he puts in it really spoke volumes to me. Because, you know, it's easy for us, for example, for you guys watching, see us in here, oh, you know, we're in med school, you know, it's like, but the work that was put in to get here is not something that you're going to see, and that's for the majority of a lot of people who are very successful in life.
That's
and
for
that,
everybody.
you know, that's for everybody.
Everybody, no matter what you do.
Yes, that comes with like, you know, things that went well, and that comes with things that didn't go well. I just want to like touch in on that a little bit. So with this whole, like, you know, med school process of just trying to make yourself academically viable and also just a well-rounded individual, you're not only going to experience struggles in just academics, you're also going to experience struggles in just maybe like life, or just things that you were trying to do. Like, so with me, just in terms of making myself a better applicant and to get more clinical experience, I took an EMT course my senior year so I took this EMT course for, I think it was like 6 to 8 weeks. I don't remember the exact details, but it was a pretty big time requirement. Like, we had to meet up like 2 or 3 times a week, you know, a couple hours. But long story short, you know, you had to pass the practical. When it came time to the practical, unfortunately, I didn't pass it. And it hurt a lot, you know, but I still told myself, you know what, I'm gonna get this, you know, I'm gonna want, because I wanted to do that. I wanted to have something that would, you know, increase my clinical experience. But I just said, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna let that deter me. So that summer, I actually ended up retaking another EMT course. But hey, sometimes in life, just because you want something doesn't mean that's not still going to be given to you. Failed it again. For reasons that I'm not really necessarily going to go into. I'll take ownership. I take full accountability for it. Failing that thing twice was just like, wow. Like, I can't pass an EMT course, and I'm like trying to get into medical school. I want to be a doctor, right? Two times. It wasn't the best, most pleasant feeling at all. It wasn't really a pleasant feeling, and it really made me like just think about a lot of things on how I just want to change the way I approach certain things. But fast forward, my friend had told me about CityMD. CityMD is an urgent care clinics, predominantly in like, you know, major like cities, like New York and things of that nature. They have a couple, I think, in Seattle as well, and they're growing. I actually applied for their scribe position, and with that, you have to pass a practical as well. So you can imagine, I'm like, damn, this practical, I failed the EMT practical twice, 2 times, right? So, but I remember that really stuck with me. It really stuck with me. And when I tell you the amount of effort that I put in, I told myself, I assured myself, look, I am not gonna fail this thing. I know the mistakes that I've made in the past, and really, I'm not gonna fail it. You know, so I did what I had to do, and I'm grateful that I was able to come out on top and pass that damn practical. And I would honestly say it worked in my favor because I got so much more clinical experience working with MD. I was able to, you know, actually have one-on-one contact with the doctors and actually like bring patients in and speak to them. Like, just, I really think like God directed it that way. When I really think about it, it was like weird. It's really like, this is like God done. Like, I don't know how it happened, but long story short, the trials and tribulations that you go through are really just setting you up for when it really matters. You know, you might look at it as like, you know, you guys might be going through something that didn't go your way. Look at it as an opportunity, like Ken said. You want to build, and what can you do better? Literally, diamonds are formed under pressure. So, you know, that's really the only real way to look at it. And really, everything really worked out so much significantly better going through that route. So.
Yeah, so a lot of what we're talking about really builds on how to be confident in your own abilities and understanding what your weaknesses are and building on top of those.
Yeah.
And understanding that nobody's perfect, especially not in medical school. Like, we're around a lot of brilliant people and smart people, but it's a spectrum, right? Like, we're all smart and we all know things in different areas that we can learn from each other, right? Like, I don't see anybody as more intelligent than anyone else in our class. Like, there's too many personalities, there's too many experiences that you can grab from to really say that this person's going to be more successful than this person, right? So I think one of the biggest things is understanding that and realizing that you're not alone in this process, and that you're not isolated. Even if you're a doctor, you're not peculiar from the rest of the world, right? So in order to build on that confidence, a lot of that comes from the people that you're around and the support team that you have guiding you through this way. So I know we've all had different support systems that led us here. So I just want you guys to talk about that so everybody else can know.
Okay. So for me personally, I have a multitude of friends who are in a lot of different fields in life. I have friends who are in medical school. I have friends who are artists, friends who are musicians, friends who are teachers, friends who are pharmacists, whatever you name it, engineers, right? And just seeing them and their success, you know, that motivated me to want to, you know, do the same for myself. And those were when I was like struggling, you know, working on getting into medical school, these were my friends who were hitting me up, letting me know all the time that, you know, this is something that I could definitely do. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today, right? So that just stresses the importance of having a good support system and have people who are going to constantly uplift you and make sure that you're like surpassing your goals, right? And on top of that, you also want to be confident in yourself and really believe that, okay, this is something I can do. I feel like a lot of things that deter people away from the path of medicine is because like they don't believe in themselves. They don't feel like I can do it, right? So that goes back to what I said in the previous episode of just having mentorship and having someone in front of you that can literally show you the ropes, because representation is what allows you to see that you can do it as well. What about y'all?
Definitely, I agree wholeheartedly, man. I can't tell you how many times there were just like you just think to yourself, are you really built for this? Are you really like, but like you said, the people that are around you, they're the ones who are gonna like uplift you. They're the ones who are gonna bring you up when you're down. And granted, not everybody may have that. And there are some people who are literally, doing this on their own, and all best of luck to them. You know what I mean? But I just think, having people who are around you who just, hold you accountable, but also let you know that you're human at the end of the day goes so far. It goes so far. Everybody has their own weaknesses. Everybody has their own strengths. Don't compare yourself to somebody else because you don't know what they've been through.
Comparison is the devil.
It's terrible.
Yes.
Absolutely do not compare yourself to somebody else.
Stay off the internet, because the internet be lying.
Those blogs, you know what I mean, that have like these people like saying all this kind of crazy
I got
stuff.
a 528 and a 4.0.
Yeah, it's like, hey man,
those
listen.
people exist, but a lot of us have gone through some type of trial and tribulation.
Yeah.
And like he said, something is very, very important, bro. You don't know what someone else has been through to get to that point, right? Yeah. So before you start seeing the accolades and success stories, a lot of these people got out the mud, right? So don't compare yourself to others. Be confident, and you got this. You got this. You guys got this. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll hit you up with the next episode. If you have any questions, just comment down below. Follow us on our social media.
Yep.
We're here for y'all. So peace.
Yeah. Peace. Perfect.